We're up to metaphor number 15, and the one we're going to cover now is a sack of rocks. So have the children write on little stickers, again, something that they don't like in life, something that they're complaining about, and then have them either stick it to actual stones that you collect from outside and put into a sack over here, or bind them with rubber bands. And then each time you read out to the class, or have them read out to the class their sticker, then they come up and rubber band it, stick it to a rock and place it into a sack. And slowly the sack is getting heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier, and you're kind of disappearing underneath similar to what we said with the overweight thinking. So it's a very similar metaphor, but again, have the children tell you what is the metaphor. And if I carry these rocks, resentment, anger, frustration with me, instead of letting go, dropping the entire sack, letting go of banging myself with hammers or with a bat, paying attention to all the black spots instead of all the white, etc., etc., you're helping children to pay more attention. Keywords: pay more attention to the way their mind works, and they will catch themselves in the middle of a siksuch, of a confrontation or frustration or even anger, and they'll catch themselves reminding themselves, oh, this is a rock I'm carrying, this is a hammer I'm banging my head with, this is thought in the moment. Do I want this thought? And knowing that I can let go, that's power, that's liberation, that's true freedom, that you control what you think. No one can make you think what you don't give them permission for you to think. Nobody can enter your mind, press buttons. Only you have total control over that all the time. It's your mind. Don't sell out. Don't let others come in and hose it down with their www.con. The World Wide Web of waste of everybody else's thinking, not always good thinking, not always happy thinking, not always healthy thinking, and dropping that waste inside your world. So that's metaphor number 15. Ask the children, what did they learn from that? Is there any difference between that and some of the other metaphors? Again, space it a few days apart, or at least a week apart, and you'll see that there's an accumulation. You're planting seeds in the mind of the children to recognize that Middos, my character trait, is all Hilchos thinking, is basically the laws of thinking. And the Torah tells us what to think. We covered this much earlier on. Okay, number 16 is, if Has v'Shalom, a person burnt their hand on a stove, would they go back to the stove and show others, look how I burnt my hand, ah, and then do it again when you tell it to, look how this is how I burnt my hand, I put it on, ah. This is crazy. It's similar to banging my head with hammers, smashing my head with a bat, and repeating the story to other people. Burning might be a little bit more visual and sensational. The idea is to bring out the absurdity of me living in thoughts that are hurting me, burning me up, making my blood boil. We have so many interesting metaphors for describing our emotions, which we are not always paying attention to. Its true source is not you making my blood boil, it's my thoughts that are telling me my blood's boiling, when really that's not true. It's not accurate. Your blood is not boiling, but it is true that thought can affect your blood flow. It does affect your emotions, because your emotions are a result of what you're thinking. You literally feel what you're thinking all the time. It's never any other way. That's why Lev always means both mind and heart. You can't think anything else other than what you're thinking, and what you're feeling is also a result of that. So always help the children realize, if I touch a stove and I made a mistake, why would I do the same thing again as a replay, as a reenactment? That makes no sense. Okay, so number 17 of this is your internal windshield wipers. You're in a storm, this is the metaphor, you're in a storm in a car and the rain's coming, pouring down, and it happens to be there's mud in the streets, which means the car in front of you is kicking up muddy water and your windscreen is getting really dirty. So of course you turn on the windscreen wipers. Now if you don't turn them on, you're not going to be able to make proper judgments in directing your car, and it could be dangerous. So obviously you turn them on as to whatever speed is necessary to wipe the rain and the mud as it's hitting your windscreen. Here's the question. Mud is thrown at us all the time, from insults, from unkind words, from sharp words, from comparisons. You're just like your mother, and we start hurting each other with words. Oines Dvarim, Lashon Hara, Motzi Shemra. There's so many things happen in our lives that we don't want to happen, that we don't like, that is adversity or pain or even suffering, Rahman al-Islam, or God forbid, a loss of a loved one, not diminishing the reality of any of that. But the only way that Hashem has created us to withstand the adversity and suffering of life is to wire us to be able to switch off, move on, go to the next thought. Because that's how you and I exist. We live in thought, from thought to thought. And therefore, the internal windshield wipers are what's actually helping clean the window of your mind. When mud is thrown at it, you wipe it off, you wipe it off, you wipe it off. Now here's the only thing you have to do, and that is turn the windshield wipers on. It has been known to make a difference. So if I'm not aware that I have that power of thought to wipe away what's being thrown at me by the world, by my family, by my friends in school, by my classmates, by friends in recess, or not my friends anymore in recess, don't let me play hopscotch or football or soccer or basketball or whatever it is that I'm upset about. So all that's being thrown at me from a world that looks like it's outside in, but the windscreen wipers are telling me that it's really all thought, and I can do this to my thoughts. Just wipe them off, wipe them off, wipe them off, wipe them off. This record is scratch, this record is scratch. Sorry. So the power of the internal windscreen wipers is that when your vision is blurry because you are not just blurred in your eyes from crying tears of pain from all the things that people do to me, but I'm cloudy in my thinking. Always remember, I've got an internal windshield wiper that all I have to do is turn it on and start wiping away, because that's a thought, that's a thought, that's a thought, that's a thought. Ask the children what they learn from this. What else can they learn from this? Ask this each week. What are they noticing differently about the way they think since the last time we had a Middos class on these metaphors? And let the children, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years old, 15, 16 years old, reveal to you their own discoveries, self-discovery and insights of what they're noticing about themselves during the week. Because each one of these sessions is planting a seed for helping the mind become more aware, pay attention, more aware of how life really works, inside out, never outside in. Okay, ready for number 18. 4.18 is, this guy has pneumonia. And what he does is cough all over your face. Then, when he's got enough phlegm and coughing to do another round, he goes to another person in the room, right in their face. I mean, are you okay with that? Of course not. Well, what happens if this person is going around doing this to each member of the class? There you are, sitting, listening to the teacher, or writing out an exam, or whatever it is, and they're coming in and coughing in your face. I mean, the germs coming out, especially if you're are sneezing, it's approximately 90 miles per hour, and whatever the body knows to expel through the coughing and the sneezing is obviously germs that the body is getting rid of. Oh, it's going straight into your face at approximately 90 miles per hour. I wonder if you can close your mouth and your nose fast enough in order to avoid any of it getting into you. And if your immune system is already blasted because you only got 3 hours sleep last night, you just got out of a plane, or you're really exhausted from recovering from your own cough, then Has Hashem, this person who's got pneumonia or a really bad cough going around the class, what's the metaphor here? What is the marshal? And get the children to figure out, oh no, non-reality thinking is like coughing on other people. Taking my non-reality thinking, jealousy, anger, frustration, complaining, denying, excusing, accusing, blaming, comparing, jealousy, resentment, sinner, hatred. You go through the Middos, Gaiva, and now I'm spewing it out on you when I talk to you. In some ways, it's actually worse than someone coughing all over you, because they're sharing with you their negative thinking, their non-reality thinking. Jealousy is non-reality, as we've touched on. Sinner is non-reality. Resentment is revenge is non-reality. All these are non-reality thoughts. And by sharing those thoughts with you, they're planting it in your mind. They're hosing your palace of your mind with their waste product. Why let someone do that? That makes no sense. So the more we become sensitized to recognizing that when people share their lashon hara, or unkind words, or insults, or sinner, or moitzi shemra, or oinus dvarim, or teasing, etc., 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 in our ears, and that's going through into our minds, we are getting affected by that. And so don't let people cough their germs all over your mind. Don't let people spray their negative, non-reality thinking into the palace of your mind, on the walls of the palace of your mind. These are, again, just metaphors. Get the kids to be thinking more and more about the nature of thought. The way Hashem has wired us to exist is over here. And that's where we can turn our marriage around. That's where we can turn our finances around, financial stress around. That's where we can be on holiday when we're not on holiday. Yeah, because Tov Lev Mishter Tamid. You can be at a party and you're not at a party. You're at a party over here, but you're not actually at a party. But you are at a party because you're enjoying life, even when it's not always easy. Okay, metaphor number 19. We're up to 4.19. You are created with your own internal weather system. Meaning to say, imagine you're your own weather forecaster and you get to choose your own weather. That's incredible. So that means to say it could be raining and overcast and cloudy outside, but inside it's sunny spring day, cool breeze. So what I mean by this is really the following. Have you ever had a situation where the kids go out to recess, ask the children themselves, have you ever gone to recess where you are totally oblivious to the fact that it's freezing cold outside, especially, let's say, in Brooklyn on the roof of the school, and you're playing basketball or some other ball game, and you're out there freezing cold without a coat on, maybe even without a jacket. And the Rebbe or Moses are like, they're holding on to their thick winter coats, standing at the entrance to the playground, freezing, while you're all running around, totally oblivious, unaware of how cold it is. I remember playing soccer in England every single break or recess, before school, during class, and between classes, and lunch break, and sometimes after school, and it didn't matter what the weather was. Rain, freezing, a little bit of sleet, could be a drop of snow as well. You just carried on playing soccer because football crazy, football mad, football's all the thing you ever had. So, where's the weather taking place? If you're not paying attention to the clouds because it's sunny for you, you're enjoying what you're doing, you're enjoying the company you're with, it really makes no difference the fact that it is an overcast day or even raining, because you're just happy that you're with the person that you want to be with. It's a best friend, or maybe you're just engaged, so it's your fiance, the groom, the husband, the kala. So, completely irrelevant what type of weather it is outside. because it's sunny, spring day, cool breeze inside. So I get to choose my own internal weather system. And this fits very nicely. You talk to children about where Shlomo HaMelech said, and we covered this in a previous metaphor, Kol Yemei Ha'ani Ra'im, the poor man's days are all bad. It's always raining, always overcast. It's cold, freezing, and windy. But for the person who is Toiv Leiv, he's got a good mind, Mishter Tamid, he's at a constant banquet. He's at a constant party. Because this is where reality takes place. So you can actually get to choose your weather. Now, according to Rabbi Victor Miller, you can go a step further and rejoice when it rains. According to Chazal, Gemara and Tainus tells us that when it rains, it's greater than Tchias HaMesim, because Tchias HaMesim is only going to be for the tzaddikim. But when it rains, that's a chesed. Hashem is pouring down, showering, pardon the deliberate pun, he's showering down his blessings in the form of rain that is good l'rashayim and tzaddikim. It's not just for the tzaddikim, it's for everybody. So there's ways to even look at the external weather as internally, hey, this is good. Yeah, rain is good for the topsoil to grow food, for man to eat and survive. Rain is good. And it provides the moisture in the earth that the plants will absorb and the trees will absorb. And with the sunlight and the water and the carbon dioxide together, that's the diet of plant life. And they turn it into oxygen. It's all good. So these are ways of helping the children pay attention to, I get to choose my own weather system internally. And I also get to choose my own interpretation of, is it really bad weather or it's never bad weather? Okay, metaphor number 20, I'll do it my ways. You are created with your own internal GPS system. God's positioning system. That's the real meaning of GPS. Hashem put inside you innate health, resilience, gave you the ability to change in the next thought. That's teshuvah. Teshuvah had to be created before the Bria. So what we're describing here in this metaphor, if you want to call it, is that there's already an internal GPS system, navigating system, WAZE, that self-corrects. That the moment I make a wrong turn, there's something inside of us that, when I listen to it, can actually help me redirect myself. And what is that something? It's the neshama that is driven by Hashem's divine intelligence that's in you all the time. So there's such a thing as a conscience. There's such a thing as sensing that I don't feel comfortable with sharing that level of information about so-and-so. I'm concerned it might spill into Lashon Hara. We have a sense. We first have to learn the halachas, of thinking, the halachas of Lashon Hara, to be aware of what's right and what's wrong, what's good, what's bad, what's okay and what's not okay. Otherwise, ein hamaretz chassid. I can't be a chassid and I don't know what the halacha is. That's impossible. But what we're describing over here is that you are born with your own GPS system. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has got inside you his own God's positioning system. Now, how do you activate that? And the answer is basically one word: help! Rebbeinu Shalom, Master of the Universe, help! Please help me. Guide me. Hameichin mitzadik gaver. We say every morning in davening, you're the one who directs the footsteps of a person. We ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu v'tachaninu malkeinu be'etza tova milefanecha. Every night in Mariv, please prepare for us the right advice from before you, that we should go in the right direction. Some say you should even ask Hashem in those words, please Hashem, help me that everything I do, say and think in the next 24 hours, and all those who depend on me, wife, children, whoever is dependent on you, let all that we say, think and do should be according to your ratzon, your will. And in that sense, whatever happens in the next 24 hours, I don't have to worry about. I don't have to have anxiety about. Because anyway, I already asked that everything should be according to your ratzon. So if things don't work out the way I want them to go, well, I already created an amendment which said, when things don't work out my way, I want it to go your way. And so, since I asked you that it should go your way, lechatchila, when it doesn't work out my way, then it's going your way, and that's what I asked for, so I'm fine. I'm okay. I can move on. No worries. Cut out the anxiety, cut out the concerns and the fears. So how do I turn on the GPS system that's always on? Always on. Rabban Shalom, just say the word. Rabban Shalom, help. Help me. Help me. Give me clarity. Help me to unclutter my mind. Help me to stop banging my mind with these thoughts and worries and anxiety and knocking myself out with the painful thoughts and memories of all the things I've done wrong and other people have done wrong to me. Help liberate me from myself. Help. Whatever it is you're asking help for, with this kid, with this roommate, with this friend in school, with recess, on the bus, whatever it is, help encourage the children in the classroom to, in a split second, Rabban Shalom, help me. Just say the words, help me. Give me clarity. Help me win the game. Help me not to make fun of others. Help me not to be broken by others making fun of me. Help me to have the resilience that you put in me. Turn it into tefillah. Turning it into tefillah enables you to align yourself with reality thinking. Tefillah is always reality thinking. And so it ignites the GPS system, not because it wasn't on before, it was, but it helps me recognize it was on all the time. It's on before you're born. Teshuvah was created before creation, in order that, because it's beyond nature, it's always there. It's always inside us. So even when I get lost, there is no such thing, because your internal compass will redirect you.
Recalculating.
But how do you do that? How do you notice that? Just talk to Hashem. Rabban Shalom, help me, direct me, give me the right advice, show me the right direction with my marriage, with my children. And then you're never alone. You're never doing this completely on your own steam, your own intelligence, your own talent, your own qualifications. Hashem's always with you. And so it becomes an exercise in recognizing that the purpose of thought is for me to use it for you, Hashem. Rahman al-Liba boy, you want my mind, you want my thinking, you want my heart, my feelings, which are the result of what I'm thinking. So you're really asking me for my thoughts. 421 is, phew, it was only a dream. Now, how many times you had a nightmare, Rahman al-Islam, it was really like scary, and it was really real. It was really real. Now, what's your reaction 1 second after you wake up? Phew! It wasn't real. It was only a dream. It was just a nightmare. It was a good dream. It was a good dream. It was a good dream. But you know what? This simple metaphor that every child can relate to, having gone to sleep at night and waking up in the middle of the night from what seems to be a bad dream or a nightmare, every kid knows that they've experienced that moment of, it was only a dream. But they might still have some fear left over, but it was only a dream. It was only a nightmare. We as adults, we're much more likely to brush it off and not even remember it the next morning. But even if you do, here's the question. Ask the children. When you remember bad things that happened to you, is it happening to you again right now? Or is it just a memory? Oh, so it happened already? It's history? Oh, so it's like a nightmare that when you wake up, you realize, oh, it's only a thought that I don't have to drive myself nuts with. It's only thought. Now, I don't mean only thought because thought has no kayach. Thought has great power. That's why the next thought can change everything, from a Rosh Gama to a Tzaddik Gama. So when I say the word only, I don't mean to diminish the power of thought or the extent to which it can affect the whole universe, literally. What I mean to say is that the moment you realize it was just a dream, now you can move on. The moment I realize the thought happened, it's just thought that is coming up right now of an unhappy or painful memory, a remember of something you did against me or to me or said or did in recess or on the bus or going to recess or transitioning from class to class. You know, bring up all the examples that the kids go through with their siblings and their father and their mother on top of them and micromanaging every hairstyle and every fashion and every pajamas. This, why are you walking barefoot? I bought you slippers. You got 3 pairs of slippers. bring up the examples that relate to the children, but help them recognize that when I bring up a thought from yesterday, whether yesterday is a week ago, a month ago, an hour ago, a minute ago, it's like you're waking up from a nightmare or a bad dream and it's gone. It's not here anymore. Phew, it's not real. It's not real. It can only be real if you let it continue in your mind. Your mind is everything, because your only reality is what you're thinking now, in this thought. Actually, the biggest wake-up call we're ever going to have is when we die. Now, I know that sounds a little bit morbid, but it's really real. Meaning, the moment we die, we suddenly have this immediate recognition that we have woken up from a world that mostly wasn't real. And I fell into a trap of so much worry and so much anxiety and so many fears. And all of a sudden, literally all of a sudden, it's meaningless. And entering Olam HaEmes, the real world, where in the form of soul, mind, there's no barrier of time, no barrier of space, which means you actually recognize immediately your true identity as Chelik Eloka Mimal. You understand everything that's going on throughout the entire world. You see, hear everything. You're part of Hashem. And in that moment of reality is a phenomenal wake-up. Ani Yosef, those two words, Yosef woke his brothers up, and all of a sudden, everything they'd been experiencing for the past almost year, back and forth with Shimon being imprisoned, and then them being imprisoned, then being released, and then got to go back and bring back Binyamin and negotiate through Yehuda for the life of Binyamin to get him back for having stolen from the goblin. In two words, Ani Yosef, all of a sudden, all the confusion that the brothers ever had was wiped out. Everything is clear. Oh, now it makes sense. They thought they were going to get payback time, but Yosef was too big a tzaddik to fall into the danger of revenge, because he knew Hilchas thinking. He knew the halachas of what you're allowed to think and what you're supposed to not think. He was really good at the windscreen wipers washing away all the dirt that was thrown at him. Yosef Tzaddik was exceptional. In two words, all of a sudden they woke up to the new reality. When we die, we wake up. The soul is completely stripped of the body, and there's no more barriers of time and space. And all of a sudden you have immediate access to everything that came before up until this point, and now you understand. Oh, I get it. Now standing in front of Beis Din Shalmala, there's no excuses, because I see it all was perfect justice all the time. And now all the complaining and all the fetching and all the complaints and anger and frustration and tearing my hair out and beating my chest was such a waste of thought, waste of energy, waste of my mind. And that's the real wake-up call. I don't know if you want to share that with first graders, second graders, third graders, but kids are clean slates. And often it's easier to articulate something that really needs to be penetrating at a younger age than when their minds have been cluttered by all the media and video games and all the entertainment industry that clutters the mind of young kids today, to train them not to pay attention to anything more than 20 seconds. It may be something to consider talking about what it means to wake up from a nightmare and realize it was only a dream, and then wake up from Olam Hazeh into Olam HaEmes and realize it was only a dream. Hayinu kecholmim is what we actually are going to say. We were like dreamers. When Mashiach comes, we'll be like walking around and like, this, is this for real? Oh my gosh, you know what? It's really true. Kibbutz Galios, building a bais Shlishi, and the coming of Mashiach, and Tchias HaMeisim. It's really true. It's happening. It'll be like we're waking up from, all that Olam Hazeh, and running out of the Gashmias and running after the finances and a bigger home and more toys and a bigger wardrobe. And give me a break. All of a sudden, Olam Hazeh is slapped in the face for what it is. Olam HaSheker, Olam HaDimyan. And the illusion is in here. I fell for it. And yet Chazal keep reminding us there's almost not one kind description of Olam Hazeh. This world. It's not, it's just this world. Oh, the real world, Olam HaEmes, that's the real world. This is Olam HaSheker, false. Olam HaDimyan, an illusion. Olam HaChoshech, lack of clarity, it's dark. Oh, this is called Olam Hafuch, it's upside down, it's inside out, it's outside in. So there's not one kind description for this world. Hatkenetz atzmecha beprusdor, prepare yourself in this world, which is like a prusdor, it's like just a corridor, letraklin, for the real party, Olam HaEmes. So you see, Chazal really want us to orientate ourselves to look at this world as transitory. It's really not the real world. It's just where you collect the diamonds and you get paid back for the diamonds that you collected in Olam HaEmes. You can go to town with these metaphors any which way you want and help the children. Try draw out of them their insights and what they're thinking differently because of the different metaphors that they're hearing week after week after week. Don't have to spend as much time as I have in some of these metaphors, and some of them you may want to skip and just choose others. But for the most part, each one of these metaphors are built on the previous ones and keep reinforcing same and similar messages. You live inside thought. You're never far away from the next thought because the next thought is the next thought. You don't have to stay in the same thought because the life of a thought is only as long as you think it. So how far are you ever away from the next thought? You're only ever one thought away. Could be a split second. Teshuva, getting rid of revenge, getting rid of anger, frustration. And it doesn't, when I say get rid of, it doesn't mean you'll never fall into anger or frustration ever again. You'll still get the outside-in world impacting you every single day, every single hour, but the recovery is going to be much faster. Your attentiveness, the fact that you're paying attention to where you're experiencing life, is going to help you say, I'm not enjoying the way I'm thinking about life, and that's where you'll make a switch. That's where you'll drop the overweight thinking. That's where you'll stop the hammers. That's where you'll stop banging yourself with a bat and telling about the latest thing so-and-so did to you, and you're telling your friend and your therapist and your mother and your father and your spouse and your kids. And why would I put my hand on a stove and then show people what I just did and burn it again and again, burst out crying each time? Let go, start again, move on. Don't allow oneself to become a victim. You must pity me. I'm weak. I can't. I'm not. I just don't. You need to help me. Well, if anyone needs to help you, what they need to do is help you. Help yourself. Become independent. Because that's what we're talking about. Middos is about independence. That you don't own me inside my mind. I own me inside my mind. And Hashem is the one who tells me what to think and how to think. Not because I'm now a robot. You'll never be a robot. B'chata b'chayim is you got free will every single moment of your thoughts. Every single thought, from thought to thought, is bechira. You may not be in control of the pop-ups. You get to choose what to do with the pop-up. Delete, explore. Ignore, explore. That's your domain. And that's happening all the time. You're never a robot.